How's it going, everyone? This is Trixx from Meta Smash, and in this video we're going to be talking about how to play Falco in patch 8.0. Thanks to Falco's recent buffs, a ton of players have become very interested in picking him up. And I figured there'd be no better way to get you guys started than to make a full guide on how to play Falco, how to play his neutral, how to use his combo game, how to edge guard, ledge trap, and get out of disadvantage, not to mention also his best and worst stages. Also, I want to point out quickly that I'm going to be referring to a ton of my old videos that have all of the different concepts with regards to combos in those in much more detail. So if you're interested in learning the combo game of Falco, there are going to be links below to all of the different videos, as well as playing an aggressive playstyle, defensive, bait and punish, how to go off stage, and how to edge guard every character in the game. So if you're simply looking for Falco resources, everything is down below. But with that being said, let's get started with the first aspect of how to play Falco, and that's going to be his neutral. So first things first, when it comes to Falco's neutral, you have to understand that this character does not have the ability to rush in and just impose his will on his opponent. Instead, he thrives off of getting grabs and also whiff punishing with a multitude of different combo starting moves. Those moves being landing nair, down tilt, up tilt, and dare. These are the main moves that you're going to want to land in neutral because Falco is a very heavy combo based character. And I can't stress this enough because if you play Falco and you don't have combos, getting your opponent to approach you unsafely is completely useless. Speaking of approaching, that brings us to Falco's specials. It's very important to know that Falco's main tools to get your opponent to approach do not have kill power. They are simply used to pester your opponent from a distance, these mainly being both laser and shine. In neutral, these tools are used to get your opponent to approach you, not to tack on damage. Both of these tools have the ability to either stop your opponent from jumping or even force them to jump, depending on the playstyle you're trying to go for. Another very important part of Falco's game is to know when you have to back away from your opponent and stop pressuring them. Overextending as Falco can be the #1 way to lose stocks incredibly early because, as we say playing Falco, it's very easy to get lost in the sauce. Knowing when and how to use your jump height and your movement to get your opponent in positions that you can capitalize on is absolutely pivotal when you're trying to get your combo game started as well. Using your movement to bait players under platforms or towards the ledge so you can go for edge guards or juggle situations is going to be one of the most important parts of your neutral, so do not overlook your movement. So in this example here, I'm using my lasers to get my opponent to approach and then baiting them under a platform so I can go for a combo and make them pay heavily for one mistake. Also notice that once the combo is over, I try my best to get back into a position where I can reset neutral and potentially try and go for it again. In this next example here, I find myself at very high percent and also in disadvantage above my opponent and just trying to escape. But thankfully, thanks to using my movement, I finally capitalize on reversing the situation and end up taking his stock in an instant. I wanted to add this next example in because it's very important to remember that if you happen to drop a combo, you should absolutely not try and force your way back down, but instead try and come back in from a better angle and reset. It's also important to note too that in some matchups, having a frame 3 nair can actually get you out of combos and start them as well. And although Falco's combo game is incredibly powerful, one of the best ways that you're actually going to be getting kills with this character is off stage or in ledge trap situations. You're also going to notice too that at the end of a lot of these combos, they're going to end with either a fair or a back air. These combo ending moves are both designed to knock your opponent off stage so you get the opportunity to go for a ledge trap or edge guard. Although Falco doesn't have any disjoints in the air, he has some of the best edge guarding tools with very long lasting hitboxes, both in his nair and his fair. Also notice that every time I send someone off stage, I'm shooting a laser. It doesn't actually matter if it hits my opponent, but what does matter is that once it is out there, it is threatening to take their jump if they do in fact try to jump. This is going to force our opponents low so we can get these edge guards much more simply. If you're aware of how these tools can work, they can save you in situations where you yourself are going to get edge guarded. This is called a reverse edge guard, and it is something that you are going to live and die by as Falco. And trust me, being off stage as Falco in disadvantage is one of the worst parts about his game. So although Falco has a lot of style off stage, he himself can get styled on very hard. Of course, when it comes to ledge trapping, Falco does not have any items or bombs that he can put on the ledge, so ledge trapping is going to have to be a lot of conditioning and making reads. Although, thankfully now, thanks to the buffs, some of his best ledge trapping tools are his down tilt, his phantasm, which is his side special, and also his up smash. These moves can be great for frame trapping or whiff punishing if your opponent decides to get on stage with the wrong move. On a side note, I am going to be dropping a very in-depth guide on how to ledge trap with Falco, so please be sure to stay tuned for that in the future. And lastly, before we get into the downsides of Falco, I think it's important that we mention his primary kill confirm being up tilt back air. Before the buffs, this was one of Falco's only ways to get kills consistently, but now thanks to 8.0, he has tons of tools to help him out in the killing department. Whether or not you choose to use this kill confirm very often, I 100% recommend that if you play Falco, you absolutely should know about this kill confirm and how to do it. And if you're interested in more information on the percents and all the different characters that this works on, there is an incredible chart in the Falco Discord that I will be linking in the description below. And now let's quickly talk about some of Falco's weaknesses. One of Falco's main weaknesses is dealing with characters that can low profile his main way to get someone to approach. Playing on stages like Final Destination, Kalos, and Town and City can be extremely difficult for Falco if your opponent is playing a character that can play in this playstyle. This is known as crouch camping. One of the reasons why this is so polarizing for Falco is because he relies heavily on trying to get his opponent to approach and then trying to start his combo game with either landing aerials or grabs. A lot of landing aerials are going to miss. Grabs can be stuffed out by down tilts, forward tilts, or in some cases even specials, and of course if they can low profile your laser, if they have a percent lead, they will never approach you. And I'll straight up say right now that Falco can do well without platforms, but in most cases you're going to want to ban flat stages against small characters. Another big problem for Falco is that he's one of the slowest characters in the game. So if you're fighting a character on a big stage, and even if they are moderately faster than you, it can be a major struggle to get in and do damage if they can simply hit you and then run away. I'll also say that Town and City in and of itself is actually a good stage for Falco, but in some matchups it is very difficult to win. In a competitive setting, you're going to want to at the very least try and play on either Battlefield, Pokemon Stadium 2, Smashville, or Yoshi's Story. And a word of advice, if you are someone who's playing to compete and use Falco, if you don't know who your opponent is going to be playing as, I would suggest banning Final Destination Game 1. And this is just to be safe. If your opponent is playing a heavy, then this does not apply nearly as much, but the last thing you want is to lose a game because you simply cannot approach. And with that, that's going to be it for the video. I once again want to mention that if you did come here looking to learn specific combos or ledge trapping techniques or edge guarding techniques, please be sure to check the links in the description, as these will take you to all the resources you are looking for. In my opinion, there is so much to talk about with this character that it couldn't possibly all fit in one video. And lastly, if you would like more information on Falco and would like to get an assessment, I do offer one-on-one coaching. More information on that is also in the description. And once again, this is Trixx saying thanks for watching the video, and please be sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this.